G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to Cherman biAs. Yes, that's right, we're taking out one of the most interesting planes in the entire game, because it's essentially a bomber. Well, technically, it's not a bomber, it's classified as an attacker, but the plane itself is a general dive bomber. But it has a little secret. This plane can carry 2 pods of 2 MG151s each. This is the D5 Stuka, the meme plane, the OG meme plane. This plane has been in the game forever, and ever since it was introduced, the rule with the D5 Stuka is never go head on when you're fighting the D5. In fact, it is so much of a rule that, in my opinion, you should not go head on with any Stuka, just in case it is in fact a D5 and it's carrying these gun pods. You'll see exactly why in a minute. But I've decided to run my stealth belts because I'm a tryhard, and I've also decided to do a little bit of climbing. Now, this plane has pretty poor performance, to say the least. The performance, however, is made up for by the gun, and the plane itself becomes wonderful. The plane sits at 3.3, and so you have the highest burst mass of almost any other fighter at this BR. I think the only plane that comes close is the PV-2D, and that has something like 14 or like 12 50 caliber machine guns in the front. You have half the guns, but you still have so much firepower. And not only that, you're a smaller target than the PV-2D. You're a much smaller target. There's a lot less to get destroyed, and you are, in general, a more agile opponent. This is what I love about the D5. In fact, I got a random talisman for this thing, so I get really, really lucky. D5 Stuka with the talisman is pretty much the perfect grinder for anything around rank 2. Of course, I've unlocked everything in the German tree, so I don't need it, but, you know, if you're willing to embrace the memes, this plane is a fantastic little machine. You can see here, I'm climbing, and I'm really, really slow. I'm incredibly slow. But that's the beauty of the Stuka. You don't need to go fast. You just need to go head on, and you will win. Now, I do have to stress very clearly, I wouldn't just commit to a head on. Very, very rarely in this plane, even in this plane, do I commit to a head on. What you've got to do in a head on attack is you've got to fire from about 2 to 1.5 kilometers, and just before you hit 1 kilometer or 1.2 kilometers, you should pull off. That way, you'll avoid hitting the enemy's fire, and at the same time, you'll get your shots off. And that's really, really important, because you should never, ever commit to a head-on unless you're extremely desperate. And you'll only see me committing to head-ons if I am, maybe in a 1v6, in a clusterfuck, trying to scrap a last kill just before I die. And that is pretty much the only reason why you would commit to a head-on. That, or if you really, really need a target to get eliminated, and you're willing to sacrifice your entire plane. But for the most part, especially at high tier, where people are a lot more agile and everything sort of happens a bit faster, you should never ever commit to a head-on. But one of the things that low tier pilots do is the full commit. This particular Yak 1 decides to evade and then go in a straight line. Okay, what? So on to the next target. I see a P40 off in the distance, but this Spitfire is really nice and close, and I can see that he's just climbing off. I think he's underestimated my power, and I have the high ground. As you can see, stealth belts, 0.8. I've got good aim. I'm well practiced with 151s, and I can take him out pretty easily. I turn around for the P40, and I'm thinking, yeah, this guy's probably going to die in the head-on. I pull off some bursts, and there's the pull-off. There's the pullout. The P40 doesn't pull out of the head-on, and easy kill. If your pullout game is strong, you'll have a good time. Otherwise, you'll end up dying to 50 cals in head-ons. Now, the Stuka is not the best at being a tanky plane. If you compare, for example, the Stuka and the IL-2, the IL-2 is very, very hardy, but the Stuka is more agile, and the Stuka gets, in my opinion, more effective loadout. But the D5 Stuka in particular does not seem to be able to take a lot of damage. And you'll see this in a moment when I go and engage that furball down in the down there in no man's land. Oh, it's kind of spooky. You look at it. This plane does not retain energy well. It doesn't do anything except low-speed maneuverability well enough. The only ace that you really have is that you're slow enough so that when you're in a turn, your turning circle is smaller simply because you're at a lower speed. Those larger wings also do help with lift, but I wouldn't really put it past the plane to do anything insane when it comes to performance. You can see I'm reaching 600 kilometers, and I'm starting to sort of reach my maximum speeds. It's not ideal. It's not a great plane for that stuff, and you can see here I'm trying to pull ahead on with the P63. I really shouldn't have. He hits my oil, and that spells the end for me. I really can't do much else. I go vertical with this P40, and he's stalled out. I've stalled out. I managed to fall before him, and I fall right onto him. I whiff the shot. And now what I'm doing, I put my takeoff flaps on. I'm trying to turn underneath him, and I managed to get around underneath, and I saw his wing off. Now, that could have gone one of two ways. I could have, first of all, not gone head-on with that P63, but in all honesty, I just wanted the kill. And that P40, he should have kept pitching for me, kept firing. He should have pitched earlier. But what he didn't do was keep his speed up. He committed to the turn, and he committed to the stall fight. And one thing you should never do with a Stuka is engage in a low-speed stalling and turning fight. So, we're a little bit later in on the match, and I'm starting to die. Like, my engine is starting to go orange. You can smell the salt from a mile away, and there's a bow fighter. So what do? I just spray the rest of my rounds, and we trade. You only go in a head-on if you're desperate. So my situation is, I'm low on oil. My oil's empty. My engine is orange. It's not going to make it back to base, and I need to eliminate just one more person. If I can get that one kill, I'll commit to the head-on. Not only that, but I didn't actually have the power to get away. And that's one of the things that you find in the Stuka. You find that it doesn't tend to retain its energy very well. I've dived from 6,000 meters and gone to pull out of it, pulled out at 2 kilometers at 300 kilometers per hour. It's got really bad energy retention, but that's not what it was designed to do. Well, basically what we're using it for is for something a little bit unconventional and a little bit quirky. But honestly, the D5 Stuka in itself as a plane is really, really fun, and it's such an enjoyable little machine that you could probably slap a talisman on it and grind with it. If you really wanted to, you could take it out into tanks. It has a decent bomb loadout, but not quite as decent as the D3 Stuka. The D3 can carry 3 500-pounders, or it can carry a 1,000 kilo. It's got better armament, but it trades it out for the guns. And one of the things that you definitely need in Air RB is a good set of guns. And with a burst mass that rivals some jets, my God, have we got a great plane on our hands. But that's 7 kills. 7 kills is quite a significant number of kills, even though it's battle rating 3.3. I think, that's an outstanding result, and I was really, really stoked when I got that. I had a 4-kill game the other day, and it was really, really nice, but Shadowplay didn't record, so that one made up for it, I'm sure. I'm sure you'll enjoy, and I'm sure, maybe we'll see more D5 Stukas in the sky. But anyway, ladies and gents, take care, and I'll catch you next time. If you made it to the end of the video, comment, German bias is real, and France suffers, but no one likes baguettes. See you guys.